Here are the 9 contestants preparing for today's show, but only one of them can take home the prize money up to £10,000. The rest of the team will leave with nothing, as round by round they are voted off as the weakest link.
Welcome to the weakest link. Any of the 9 people in the studio here today could win up to £10,000. They don't know each other, however, if they want the prize money, they'll have to work as a team, but 8 of them will leave with nothing. As round by round we lose the player voted the weakest link. Let's meet the team.
Hello, I'm Nigel, I'm 56, and I'm a barrister.
I'm Bailey, I'm 42, and I'm a football coach.
I'm Roxy, I'm 29, and I'm a fashion designer.
I'm Charlie, I'm 27, and I'm a quiz fanatic.
Hello, I'm Diane, I'm 64, and I'm a retired gymnastics teacher.
Hi, I'm George, I'm 34, and I work in a gas station.
I'm Russell, I'm 18 years old, and I'm a college student.
I'm Vectra, I'm 26, and I'm unemployed.
Hello, I'm Vicky, I'm 39, and I'm a health advisor.
Now the rules: in each round you have a target of £1,000. The aim of the game is to answer enough questions correctly to reach your £1,000 target within the time limit. The fastest way to get to your target is to create a chain of 9 correct answers. If you get your question wrong, you'll break the chain and lose all the money in that chain, but if you say the word bang before the question is asked, the money is safe, but you'll start a new chain from scratch. Remember, at the end of the round only money that has been banked can be taken forward. In round 1 there are 3 minutes on the clock. We'll start with the person whose name is first alphabetically, and that's you, Bailey. Let's play the weakest link. First question is for £20. Start the clock. Bailey, which 2009 film directed by James Cameron is the world's highest grossing film?
Avatar.
Correct, Roxy. If someone was feeling sad, they'd said to be feeling what color, red or blue?
Blue.
Correct, Charlie. What metal are soda cans commonly made of?
Aluminium.
Correct, Diane. On Remembrance Day in the UK, people wear what kind of flower?
Puppy.
Correct, George. What B is a 4-letter word for a ballpoint pen?
Biro.
Correct, Trestle. Which saint is known for driving the snakes out of Ireland?
St. Paul.
No, Russell. St. Patrick is the correct answer. Vector, which sport would you perform a slam dunk?
Basketball.
Correct, Vicky. In music, which member of the Spice Girls is nicknamed Scary Spice?
Mel B.
Correct, Nigel. If someone was born in 1996, what year will they celebrate their 50th birthday?
2046.
Correct, Bailey. According to the proverb, all roads lead to which Italian city?
Rome.
Correct, Roxy. How many degrees are in a right angle?
90.
Correct, Charlie. In which country of the UK would you find Snowdonia National Park?
Wales.
Correct, Diane. In the 1939 film Wizard of Oz, who was looking for a brain?
The Scarecrow.
Correct, George.
Bang.
The star sign Leo is represented by what animal?
Lion.
Correct, Trestle. Complete the title of this song by the Rolling Stones. I can't get no what?
Love?
Nope, satisfaction. Vectra, what C is a word for something that transmits electricity and also a director of an orchestra?
Conductor.
Correct, Vicky. In which field is the Booker Prize awarded?
Literature.
Correct, Nigel. What kind of insect is a ladybird?
Beetle.
Correct, Bailey. The Yankees are a baseball team that plays for which American?
New York.
Correct, Roxy. What television duo first appeared in the children's television drama Biker Grove?
Is it Ant and Dec?
Correct, Charlie. Which Hanna-Barbera cartoon character has the catchphrase Yabba Dabba Doo?
Fred Flintstone.
Correct, Diane.
Bank.
Okay, it took a while to get their team, but nevertheless you have still reached and banked your £1,000 target in time. That money will go through to the next round, but of course, one of you will not. Who is showing signs of weakness? Who will fall apart in the next round? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
In the first round, Bailey is the strongest link. The weakest link is Russell, since he was the only one to get questions wrong. But who will the team vote off in this early stage of the game?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Russell.
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 Roxy.
Russell.
Russell.
Bailey. So you are a football coach.
Yes.
And for how long have you been a football coach?
I've been a football coach since 2009, so it will be 10 years this year.
And what do you enjoy the most about being a football coach?
What I really like about being a football coach is interacting with a team, because I like to see them progress from a good team to an excellent team.
I see. Did you coach any other sports? Or is it only football you coach?
No, I actually used to be a rugby coach, and I've been a rugby coach for 4 years. From 2010 to 2014.
Why didn't you coach rugby as long as coaching football?
Well, even though I really like rugby, I always preferred football, because I believe I'm a better football coach than I am a rugby coach. So I decided to coach rugby for a little while, and then keep on coaching football.
Okay. So Bailey, why have you voted for Russell?
Because he was obviously the weakest link in this round, as he was the only one to have answered wrong, when everyone else got their questions correct. And his questions were very easy, especially the Rolling Stones question.
Vicky, remind me what you do.
I'm a health advisor.
And what does being a health advisor involve?
It involves giving people advice to improve their health and well-being.
I see. What kind of health advice do you give to people?
I give them advice based on their life choices, for example, if they smoke or drink, and I give dietary advice for people who are underweight and overweight, and may put them on a diet plan.
And how long have you been giving people health advice for?
For nearly 23 years.
Really? Did you do anything else before you became a health advisor?
Nope, this is my first and only job, and I'm not leaving my job anytime soon.
Alright. So Vicky, why Russell?
Because Russell is without a doubt the worst player in the round, since he got 2 questions wrong, and everyone else got theirs correct. And he probably doesn't have much experience, since he's only 18 years old, and I guess that's why he got the questions wrong.
I suppose you could be right. Russell, the 18-year-old college student, who thinks it was St. Paul who drove the snakes out of Ireland, and also thinks that I Can't Get No Love was a song by the Rolling Stones. Everyone apart from you got their questions right, and it now looks like unanimously everyone wants to get rid of you. It's time to go back to college. With 8 votes you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I can't believe I came here all this way, just to be voted off in the first round, and I also can't believe I said St. Paul instead of St. Patrick. I knew it was St. Patrick. I don't think that was fair that Vicky made out that just because I'm young, I don't know anything, and I hope she doesn't win the money.
Round 2. You have reached your target in the last round, so you have in the bank £1,000. There are 8 of you left. We're cutting 10 seconds from the time. We'll start with the strongest link in the last round. And that's Bailey. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Bailey in the animal kingdom. What C is a member of the dog family that's native to North America?
Coyote.
Correct, Roxy. Which part of the nose shares its name with a structure that carries a road from one side to the other?
Bridge.
Correct, Charlie. Which actor starred in the films Total Recall, Commando and Predator?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Correct, Diane. How many minutes is 660 seconds?
11.
Correct, George. Which English poet and playwright was born in Stratford-upon-Avon in 1564?
William Shakespeare.
Correct, Vectra. Shanghai is the largest city by population in which Asian country?
China.
Correct, Vicky. Which rock and roll singer died of a heart attack on August 16, 1977?
Elvis Presley.
Correct, Nigel. Trees that shed their leaves annually are known as what? Deciduous or evergreens?
Deciduous.
Correct, Bailey. Which German-born physicist is known for creating the formula E equals mc squared?
Albert Einstein.
Correct, Roxy. If a box of chocolate costs £16 and 50 pence, how much will the box of chocolate cost at half price?
£8 and 25 pence.
Correct, Charlie.
Bank.
Okay, team. You have reached and banked your £1,000 target again. That money will go through to the next round, but you could have got there a little quicker, since you had a chain of 10 correct answers. Who isn't paying attention? Who looks extremely worried? Who will be next to leave the studio with nothing? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
In this impressive second round, Charlie is the strongest link, since he banked the £1,000. Vectra is the weakest link statistically. But who will lose out in the voting?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Roxy.
Roxy.
Nigel.
Nigel.
Roxy.
Nigel.
Roxy.
Nigel.
We have a tie. Nigel and Roxy, 4 votes each. Vectra. That's quite an odd name. You said that you're unemployed?
Yes, but not for long.
Oh really? So will you be getting a job soon?
That's right. I'm nearly done applying for it.
And what job are you applying for?
I'm applying for a job in construction. It involves working on building projects. Building things like apartments, houses, public buildings, and much more.
Is this your first job that you ever applied for?
Actually no, this will be my second job that I've applied for.
And what was your first job that you applied for? And did you successfully get it?
I did successfully get the job, and my first job was at a box factory, where I did the packaging, and I had that job for 6 years.
So why are you unemployed? What happened to your job in the box factory?
To be honest, I left the job. I found it tiring and boring, and I was very desperate to get a job. At the time, the box factory was easy to apply for. But now I'm looking forward to my new job, because construction and building things is one of my interests.
Well, good luck with your new job. So Vectra, why do you want to get rid of Roxy?
Because she looks extremely nervous. She was hesitant in the last round and this round as well, and she didn't bank when she should have banked.
Okay, George, tell me, what do you do for a living?
I work at a gas station.
And what do you do at the gas station?
I basically collect the money due for the gas that the people put in their cars.
I see. How long have you been doing that for?
For about 14 years.
Do you find your job boring sometimes?
Not really. I like my job. I get along with the other workers, and I'm gonna stick with this job.
Fair enough. So when you're not busy collecting the money in the gas station, What do you do in your spare time?
In my spare time, I like to watch television, listen to music, and play my drum set.
Oh, okay. How long have you been playing your drum set?
I've had quite a few sets over the years, but I've been practicing the drums since I was 7 years old.
Did you ever think about starting a career with drumming?
I do love drumming, but honestly I don't think I'm good enough to be a professional drummer. I'd rather just stick to my job at the gas station.
So George, why have you voted for Nigel?
Well, he's a barrister, and he gets paid a hell of a lot of money, and he certainly doesn't need the prize money when he makes a lot of money anyway.
What a great reason to vote someone off. Well, when the vote is tied, the strongest link gets to cast the deciding vote. And the strongest link was Charlie. Charlie, did you say that you're a quiz fanatic?
Yes, I sure did.
What do you think makes you a quiz fanatic?
Well, I watch a lot of game shows, take part in lots of competitive quizzes, and I win most of the time.
Is that so? Are you confident that you're gonna win today's game then?
Yes, I have excellent general knowledge, so I'm very confident about today's game.
We shall see. So Charlie, you voted for Nigel, but you now have a choice. You can change your mind and vote for Roxy instead. Who do you want to abandon from the team?
I'm going to stick with Nigel.
Why?
Because I completely agree with George. He doesn't need the prize money at all, because he is a barrister, and he already makes a lot of money.
Well, he wasn't the worst player in the round, but it's votes that count. Nigel, the 56-year-old barrister, you were not the worst player in this round, but I'm afraid the team thinks that you don't need the prize money, and that's why they have voted you off. Well, I guess it's time for you to go back to being a barrister. With 4 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
That was extremely pathetic, that they give the absolute rubbish excuse of voting me off just because I make a lot of money. Well, you know what, I wish them the very worst of luck for the later rounds. And I hope Charlie doesn't win the money, because he has got to be the most arrogant person I've ever seen.
Round 3. You have actually been reaching your targets so far, team. You now have in the kitty £2,000. There are 7 of you left. We're cutting another 10 seconds from the time. We'll start with the strongest link in the last round. And that's Charlie. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Charlie, what's the name of the 2010 DreamWorks movie that features a dragon called Toothless?
How to Train Your Dragon.
Correct, Diane. What does the acronym ASAP stand for?
Can you repeat the question, please?
What does the acronym ASAP?
Oh, as soon as possible.
Correct, George. Which war began on the 1st of November 1955 till the 30th of April 1975?
The Vietnam War.
Correct, Vectra. What kind of dancers wear a dress called a tutu?
Ballerinas.
Correct, Vicky. What nationality is the painter Leonardo da Vinci?
Italian.
Correct, Bailey. Was the year 1992 a leap year?
Yes.
Correct, Roxy. In politics, Theresa May, who is the current Prime Minister of the UK, is the leader of which party?
Labour.
Nope, Conservative. Charlie, which English band had the songs Hungry Like the Wolf that
Duran Duran.
Correct, Diane. The actor Harrison Ford is known for playing a fictional archaeologist.
Indiana Jones.
Correct, George. Which sport would you associate the Williams sisters?
Tennis.
Correct, Vectra. What letter represents number 10 in Roman numerals?
I don't know.
The correct answer is X, Vectra. Vicky, in which month is American Independence Day celebrated?
July.
Correct, Bailey. Who was the author of the 1960 novel To Kill a Mockingbird?
Harper Lee.
Correct, Roxy. Which 1980s American TV series stars David Hasselhoff as the main character Michael Knight?
Pass.
Knight Rider. Charlie, what hell are concave and convex types of
Lens.
Correct, Diane. In Greek mythology, which hero was the leader of the Argonauts?
Jason.
Correct, George.
Bang.
Which planet in our solar system is furthest away from the sun?
Neptune.
Correct, Vectra.
Bang.
The composer Ludwig van Beethoven lost which of his senses in the early 19th century?
His hearing.
Correct, Vicky.
Bank.
What surname are the brothers Noel and Liam who were in the band Oasis?
Gallagher.
Correct, Bailey. Time's up. And that was a complete disaster. After reaching your £1,000 target twice in a row. In this round, you only banked an abysmal, embarrassing, measly, unimpressive £90. Who needs to be desperately axed from the team? Who is the dunce that needs to be ditched? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
In this round, George is the strongest link, since he got all of his questions correct, and banked money for the team. The weakest link is Roxy, since she failed to answer a single question correctly. Can she survive the voting?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Roxy.
Vectra.
Roxy.
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 Bailey. Why have you voted for Roxy?
Because I am pretty sure she was the weakest link. She didn't get any of her questions right in that round, and she wasted way too much time as she hesitated in one of her questions.
She did indeed hesitate for a very long time on one of her questions. Diane, you said that you're a retired gymnastics teacher?
Yep, I sure did.
How long have you been a gymnastics teacher before you retired?
I've been a gymnastics teacher for 35 years, before I retired.
And did you enjoy your job as a gymnastics teacher?
Yes, definitely. Gymnastics has been my passion since I was very young, and I won a lot of medals in gymnastics in my school.
I see. Since you've now retired from gymnastics, what do you get up to in your spare time?
Well, since I'm now retired, I have all the spare time in the world. I usually go to the bingo with my friends, go shopping with them, and listen to the radio or watch the telly when I have nothing else to do.
What kind of things do you like to listen to on the radio?
Mainly music and talk shows, but my favorite thing on the radio is Pop Master on BBC Radio 2.
Really? Are you any good at Pop Master?
Not really. I get the occasional good score, but most of the time, I'm lucky to get one question right. But the main thing is Pop Master is just for fun, so I like to listen to it.
Okay. So Diane, why Roxy?
Because she was extremely hesitant on answering one of her questions. She didn't get any of her questions correct in this round, and she made us lose lots of money, so I think it's time for Roxy to go.
It sure is. Roxy, the 29-year-old fashion designer, who thinks Theresa May is the leader of the Labour Party, and has never heard of Knight Rider. You know the whole point of quick-fire general knowledge questions are to answer them quickly and correctly. Not incorrectly and slowly. You made the team lose a lot of money, and they have now had enough of you. Unanimously with 6 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I'm not at all surprised that I was going to be voted off in this round, because I knew my performance was terrible, and I did take far too long to answer my questions. I think Vectra will be voted off next, because he is starting to fall apart, and he will eventually slip up completely.
Round 4. After that miserable round, team, you have in the bank £2,090 out of a possible £3,000. 6 of you left. We're cutting another 10 seconds from the time. You now only have 2.5 minutes. We'll start with the strongest link in the last round. And that's George. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. George, in geography, Kingston is the capital of which Caribbean country?
Jamaica.
Correct. Vectra. Who was president of the United States during the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962?
John F. Kennedy.
Correct. Vicky. What D is a common type of learning disability that affects someone's reading and writing?
Dyslexia.
Correct. Bailey. Which television drama series would you associate the phrase "winter is coming"?
Game of Thrones.
Correct. Charlie.
Bang.
Which Japanese company released the Walkman? Correct. Diane. The Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock were professional what?
Pass.
Wrestlers. George, the gemstone jade is traditionally which secondary color?
Green.
Correct. Vectra. What's the name of the character played by Michael J. Fox in the 1985 film Back to the Future?
I have no idea.
Marty McFly. Vicky, in music, who duetted with Mick Jagger in the song Dancing in the Street?
David Bowie.
Correct. Bailey. In weight measurements, how many grams are in 3.5 kilograms?
3,500 grams.
Correct. Charlie.
Bang.
In video games, which fighting game series is known for performing fatalities to finish off the other player?
That's Mortal Kombat.
Correct. Diane. Which French car manufacturer produces the Clio, the Laguna and the Twingo?
Peugeot.
No. Renault. George, in boxing, who defeated Conor McGregor by TKO in the 10th round in 2017?
Floyd Mayweather.
Correct. Vectra.
Bang.
The 1970s British television sitcom Porridge was set in what establishment?
Breakfast Club.
No. Vectra. The correct answer is a prison. Vicky, in the nursery rhyme and tongue twister, who picked a peck of pickled peppers?
Peter Piper.
Correct. Bailey. In chemistry, what liquid metal is known as quicksilver?
Mercury.
Correct. Charlie.
Bang.
If A is Alpha and Z is Zulu, what is F?
Foxtrot.
Correct. Diane. Larry Page and Sergey Brin found at which popular search engine in the late 90s?
Pass. I have no idea.
Time's up. The correct answer, Diane, was Google. And your performance was slightly better, but still not very impressive. You banked £320. Who is dramatically falling apart? Who wouldn't be able to cope in the later rounds? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
For the second time in the game, Charlie is the strongest link, since he got all of his questions correct, and banked the most money for the team. Diane is the weakest link, since she didn't get a single correct answer in this round. But who does the team want off?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Diane.
Diane.
Vectra.
Diane.
Diane.
Charlie.
Vectra. On a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you think you did in that round?
Not very good. About a 4 or 5.
I think it's much worse than that. You only got one question right in that round, and you think that the British sitcom Porridge was set in a breakfast club.
Well, I've never seen or heard of it, so with a name like Porridge, I assumed it was a breakfast club.
Well, you obviously assumed wrong, because of much of your surprise. It's actually in a prison.
I guess it was before my time, so that's probably why I didn't know.
Oh, so what you're saying is you can only answer questions during or after your time?
When it comes to television and music, yes, that is the case.
That's not very good. So Vectra, why have you voted for Diane?
Because I think she was the weakest link, as her performance was worse than mine. I got one question correct, but she on the other hand, got no questions correct.
Well, at least you're right about that. George, why have you voted for Diane?
It's a shame because she was doing good until this point, but I guess she was just very unlucky with her questions. Sorry, Diane, but you were the weakest link in this round, and you need to go.
Fair enough. And finally Charlie, the quiz fanatic, why Diane? Had enough of her?
Well, she did completely fell apart, so yes. She didn't answer a single question correctly in this round. She is preventing us from reaching our target, and she's costing us lots of money. She was certainly the worst player in the round, and it's now time for her to go.
That's fair enough. Diane, the 64-year-old retired gymnastics teacher. You didn't get any questions correct in this round, and you made the team lose a lot of money, and it looks like Charlie has certainly had enough of you. It's time to go back to listening to the radio and watching the telly. With 4 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I'm extremely disappointed with myself that I didn't get a single question correct in this round, but George was right. I was unlucky, and I didn't know any of my questions. I really hope Charlie doesn't win the money, because he's just an overly arrogant twit, who likes the sound of his own voice, and I hope he messes up and gets voted off next.
Round 5. You have in the kitty so far £2,410 out of a possible £4,000. You're down to 5 players. We're cutting another 10 seconds from the time. We'll start with the strongest link in the last round. And that's Charlie. Let's play. The weakest link. Start the clock. Charlie, the female singer Kylie Minogue used to be on which Australian soap opera?
Neighbors.
Correct. George, what precious metal is associated to a 50th wedding anniversary?
Go.
Correct. Vectra. How many days are in 8 weeks?
58. No, 56. 56.
No, I can only accept your first answer. The correct answer is 56. Vicky, what is the colored part of the eye called?
The iris.
Correct. Bailey. On a road, giveaway signs are typically what shape upside down?
Triangle.
Correct. Charlie. Which company known for making vodka shares its name with a color and a type of bird?
That's Grey Goose.
Correct. George. What's the name of the villain played by Ralph Fiennes in the film Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix?
Lord Voldemort.
Correct. Vectra. What word beginning with H is the Scots word used for the celebration of the last day of the year?
I have no idea.
Hogmanay. Vicky, in which decade of the 20th century was the Indian activist Mahatma Gandhi assassinated?
The 40s.
Correct. Bailey. The disease transmitted by mosquitoes is known as fever of what color?
Yellow.
Correct. Charlie.
Bang.
In geography, Sacramento is the
California.
Correct. George. In maths, what number is the only even prime number?
2.
Correct. Vectra. Which musical film about a car has the songs Meal Bamboo Toot Sweets and Hushabye Mountain?
Grease.
Nope. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Vicky, in science, the type of radiation UV is short for what?
Ultraviolet.
Correct. Bailey. In which 1980s children's cartoon does David Jason play a vampire duck?
Count Duckula.
Correct. Charlie.
Bang.
In sport, how many players are in each team in a game of netball?
7.
Correct. George.
Bang.
In music, Bob Geldof was the lead singer of which Irish rock
The
band?
Boomtown Rat.
Correct. Vectra. The 1989 Disney movie The Little Mermaid was based on a fairy tale by which Danish book author?
Hans Christian Andersen.
Correct. Vicky,
Hooray!
Bang.
who was the very first winner of the British? Time's up. I cannot complete the question. I don't know what you're so excited about, Vectra. You only got 1 question correct in this round. And not to mention the pathetic amount of money you banked in this round, team. You only banked £170. Who keeps wasting your time and costing you money? Who is certainly not the brightest light bulb in the drawer? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
For the 3rd time in the game, Charlie is the strongest link, since he got all of his questions correct and banked £100 for the team. The weakest link is Vectra, since he was the only one to get questions wrong in this round. Can he survive the vote?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Vectra.
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 Charlie.
Charlie.
George, why have you voted for Vectra?
Because he was definitely the weakest link. He got nearly all of his questions wrong, and he's the one who is stopping us from reaching our target, since he was the only one who was getting the questions wrong in this round.
Alright. Charlie, still think you're going to win today's game?
Well, I do have a high chance of winning, since I was the strongest link 3 times in today's game, and so far I haven't got a single question wrong.
But surprisingly, you're not the only one who hasn't got a single question wrong in the whole game. As far as I know, Bailey, George and Vicky have answered all of their questions correctly as well.
Yeah, true, but you must remember I've been banking a lot of money for the team, including the £1,000 I banked in round 2, and I have also been answering my questions quickly. So it looks like it's safe to say that I've been the best player so far.
Wow. You're so modest, aren't you? So Charlie, why Vectra? Have you had enough of him as well?
Yes, I have.
Whatever.
Because I agree with George, he's the one who is causing us problems of reaching our target, since he was the one getting nearly all of his questions wrong. He also overreacted at the end of the round. It was only the one question he got right, and it was very easy.
Okay. And finally Bailey, why Vectra?
Well, I'm afraid to say that he was definitely the worst player in round, because George and Charlie are right, he was causing us problems by getting too many wrong answers. It may be time for him to go, but I wish him the best of luck on getting his new job.
Fair enough. Vectra, who's 26 and unemployed. Let's be honest, your performance in this round has been dreadful. You got most of your questions wrong, and you're causing the team too many problems on reaching their target by getting way too many wrong answers. It's time to go back to finish applying for your new job. With 3 votes, you're the weakest link. Goodbye.
I just knew that I was going to be voted off in this round, because the others are much stronger players than me. I'm very annoyed with myself that I said 58 days instead of 56. I knew it was 56. I really hope Charlie doesn't win the game, because he's just very rude and full of himself, and I think the others would eventually get tired of him.
Round 6. You have in the kitty £2,580 out of a possible £5,000. 4 of you left. We're cutting another 10 seconds from the time. We'll start with the strongest link in the last round. And that's modest Charlie. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Charlie, and chemistry, which element has the atomic number 17?
Chlorine.
Correct. George, what's the name of the 80s game show presented by Michael Barrymore that the players choose top, middle or bottom?
Strike It Lucky.
Correct. Vicky, in which English county is the theme park Alton Towers located?
Staffordshire.
Correct. Bailey,
Bang.
what phrase in Latin means someone who has an alternative or second personality?
I should know this. Nope, I don't know.
Alter ego. Bailey,
Oh, come on.
Charlie, in music, who sang the song Toy Soldiers?
Eminem.
No, Charlie, the correct answer is
What?
Martika. It would help if you listened to the question. George, the famous quote, "Here's Johnny," is from which 1980 horror
The
movie?
Shining.
Correct. Vicky, where in the body when you wear winkle pickers?
Your feet.
Correct. Bailey, in Cockney rhyming slang, which part of a house is known as apples and pears?
Stairs.
Correct. Charlie,
Bang.
In literature, which female English author wrote the novel Wuthering Heights that was adapted into a film in 1939?
Jane Austen.
Nope, Emily
Oh, for God's
Bronte.
sake.
Georgian sport, which Six Nations rugby team has Rory Best as its current captain?
Ireland.
Correct, Vicky.
Bang.
In food, what is wrapped around bacon in the dish Angels on Horseback?
Oysters.
Correct, Bailey. What D is the name given to the outermost layer of the skin?
Epidermis.
Correct, Charlie. Wesley Snipes plays the character Simon Phoenix in which 1993?
Demolition Man.
Correct, George.
Bang.
In education, which letter represents the lowest grade pass in GCSE exams?
Pass.
G. Vicky, which measurement is longer 9 feet or 109 inches?
109 inches.
Correct, Bailey. In the Gregorian calendar, what month is 8 months before December?
April.
Correct, Charlie.
Bang.
Time's up. I cannot accept your bank. It was only just out of time. And you banked £320, which for you team, is still mediocre. Who is struggling to cope with the pressure? Who's getting too big for their boots? Who will be next to leave with absolutely nothing? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
For the first time in the game, Vicky is the strongest link, since she was the only one to have answered all of her questions correctly. For a complete reversal of fortune, Charlie was the strongest link 2 rounds in a row, but now the weakest in this, since he got the most questions wrong. Will his previous performance save him?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Charlie.
Vicky.
Charlie.
Charlie.
Bailey. Why have you voted for Charlie, the modest quiz fanatic?
If you want my honest opinion, he's anything but modest. He was claiming in the last round that he was better than everyone else, which is just extremely arrogant of him, and he has been very rude to the other contestants as well. His ego definitely got the better of him, and I think that's what led to his downfall to being the weakest link in this round, and I'm really glad he's about to go.
Strong words. Vicky. It's been a while since I last talked to you. You seem to really want to get rid of Charlie, since this is the 3rd time in a row you voted for him.
That's because I really do want to get rid of Charlie. His arrogance throughout the game has been totally unnecessary, and he was trying to show off by answering the questions very quickly, which misfired and caused him to be the weakest link in this round, by getting 2 questions wrong. And I find it very amusing, especially that he was thinking he was going to win. Well, I guess that ain't happening now.
Indeed. It certainly isn't. And finally, George. Why Charlie?
Because I totally agree with Bailey and Vicky. He has been extremely arrogant throughout the game, especially when he said that he was the best player in the last round, and his overconfidence and ego got the better of him in this round, and he was the weakest link, since he got the most questions wrong. He said he was going to win, but I guess he didn't win after all. Farewell, and good riddance, Charlie.
Okay then. Well, he was the worst player in the round. Charlie. The 27-year-old quiz fanatic. It's safe to say that you will not be the winner of today's weakest link, since you let your ego and arrogance get the better of you, which resulted of you getting questions wrong, and they have all rightfully had enough of you. I have the absolute full pleasure of saying this to you, Charlie. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I've been absolutely robbed. I honestly thought I was going to win the weakest link, but the team just had to screw it up for me. They can call me whatever they want. I don't care, and I also don't care who will win, because neither of them deserve the prize money at all.
Round 7. You have in the bank £2,900 out of a possible £6,000. There are now only 3 of you left. And we still have Bailey, the football coach, George, who works at a gas station, and Vicky, the health advisor. We're cutting another 10 seconds from the time. We'll start with the strongest link in the last round. And that's Vicky. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Vicky, which Australian outlaw who was famous in the 1870s wore his homemade armor during robberies?
Ned Kelly.
Correct, Bailey. In which European country did feta cheese originate?
Sweden.
Nope, Greece. George, which video sharing site does the user PewDiePie have over 90 million subscribers?
YouTube.
Correct, Vicky. Which American boy band had the album Step by Step in 1990?
New Kids on the Block.
Correct, Bailey. In the 1986 Stephen King novel It, what is the name of the clown?
I can't remember.
Pennywise. George, in which 1999 film does Nathan Lane voice a cat called Snowbell?
I have no idea.
Stuart Little. Vicky, how many syllables are in the word armadillo?
4.
Correct, Bailey. Which British TV soap opera is set in Albert Square in the fictional borough of Walford?
EastEnders.
Correct, George. What is the professional name of the retired basketball player Irvin Johnson?
Magic Johnson.
Correct, Vicky. What term is used to describe a cinema with a large number of screens?
Multiplex.
Correct, Bailey. Which Irish radio presenter hosted the talent show Come Dancing in the 1970s?
Terry Wogan.
Correct, George. Which comedy cartoon first appeared as shorts on the Tracy Ullman Show?
The Simpsons.
Correct, Vicky. In Greek mythology, what is the name of the king who touched everything into gold?
King Midas.
Correct, Bailey.
Bang.
Which Soviet Union leader was born on the 18th of December 1878?
Georgy Malenkov.
Nope, Joseph Stalin. George, what is zoophobia, the irrational fear of?
Animal.
Correct, Vicky.
Bang.
In medicine, what do the letters H are? Time's up. I cannot complete the question. It looks like you have woken up, team, because you did much better in this round. However, it's still not 1,000. You banked £620. Now in round 8 you get the chance to treble what you bank, so potentially there's £3,000 to be won. But who's outstayed their welcome? Who will not help you raise the bank balance in the next round? However, the real question is, do you have the courage and decency to vote off the weakest link?
For the second time in a row, Vicky is the strongest link, since she was the only one to have not got a question wrong. The weakest link is Bailey, since he got the most questions wrong, but he did bank £600 for the team. But who will lose out in the final vote?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
George.
Bailey.
Bailey.
Vicky. Why have you voted for Bailey?
It's a shame because he did do really well in the game overall, and he did bank a lot of money, but I'm afraid he was the worst player in the round, since he got 3 questions wrong. And I want to be absolutely fair, so that's why I didn't want to vote for George, because I knew he was the stronger player. I wish you the best of luck, Bailey.
Alright. And George. Why Bailey?
Well, I didn't want to be a coward and vote for the strongest link, which I knew was Vicky, so I had no choice but to vote for Bailey. It's sad because he did bank a lot of money in this round, but he did get the most questions wrong, making him the weakest link. I'm sorry, Bailey, but it's time for you to go.
That's fair enough. Bailey, the 42-year-old football coach. You did reasonably well in today's game. You banked £600 in this round, but I'm afraid you're not good enough to keep up with Vicky and George, so they have voted you off. Well, I guess it's time for you to go back to coaching football. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
You know what? I may be a little disappointed that I was voted off in this round, but I believe that it was fair to vote me off since I was the weakest link, and I'm very proud of myself to make it all the way to the 7th round. I think Vicky will win the money, because she didn't get a single question wrong so far, and I wish both her and George the best of luck in the next round.
Round 8. You have in the kitty £3,520 out of a possible £7,000. George and Vicky, just the two of you left. You now only have 90 seconds, but whatever you win will be trebled and added to your total winnings of the previous rounds, so there's £3,000 at stake. We'll start with the strongest link in the last round, and that's Vicky. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Vicky, which comedy double act have the first names Eric and Ernie?
Markham and Wise.
Correct, George. In the human body, the adrenal glands lie at the upper end of which organ?
The heart.
Nope, the kidneys. Vicky, in mobile phones, what does the letter abbreviation WAP stand for?
Wireless application protection.
Nope, wireless application protocol. George, which cleaning television program starred Kim Woodburn and Aggie Mackenzie?
I haven't got a clue.
How clean is your house? Vicky, in the Mr. Men series, which character is blue and wears bandages?
Mr. Clumsy?
No, the correct answer is Mr. Bump. Wow, what a fantastic performance so far. George, in pop music, which Scottish band was Marty Pellow the leader of?
What?
Correct, Vicky. In 1916, Anne Winton was the first ever woman to do it on the BBC.
Read the news.
Correct, George. Which 1980s cartoon has the characters Leonardo, Raphael, Donatello, and Michelangelo?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Correct, Vicky. In politics, what are means to approve or confirm something?
Ratify.
Correct, George.
Bang.
In which Mediterranean principality when you find the Monte Carlo casino?
Monaco.
Correct, Vicky.
Bank.
In history, in which century was William Wallace executed?
The 15th century?
Nope, the 14th century.
Bang.
Time's up. There was nothing to bank, George. And you only banked £220. We'll treble that and add it to the total winnings of today. So that makes the total prize money of today of £4,180, but only one of you can take that money away. They'll now play against each other head-to-head. I'll ask alternating questions, best of 5. Whoever answers the most correctly wins. It's as simple as that. If there's a tie after 5, we'll go to sudden death until we have a winner. So George and Vicky, for £4,180. Let's play the weakest link. George is the strongest link in the last round. You have the choice to who goes first.
I'll go first.
George, the 2005 hit single by Madonna, Hung Up, samples which song by ABBA?
Waterloo.
The correct answer is Gimme Gimme Gimme, A Man After Midnight. Vicky, which novel by Charles Dickens was the main character born in Blunderstone, Suffolk?
David Copperfield.
That's the correct answer. George, what is the name of the first-person shooter video game series that has the titles World at War, Modern Warfare, and Black Ops?
Call of Duty.
That's the correct answer. Vicky, in which American television sitcom features a black talking cat called Salem?
Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
That's the correct answer. George, in the 2000 Sydney Olympic Games, which sport did Paul Palmer represent Great Britain?
Swimming.
That's the correct answer. Vicky, which actor played Freddie Mercury in the 2018 film Bohemian Rhapsody?
Rami Malek.
That's the correct answer. So far Vicky is in the lead. George, in chemistry, which noble gas shares its name with the fictional planet that Superman was born on?
Krypton.
That's the correct answer. Vicky. Who was the 11th President of the United States?
James K. Polk.
That's the correct answer. George. You need to answer this question correctly to stay in the game. What's the name of the 1960s cartoon that the main character says the phrase, "My wings are like a shield of steel"?
Nope, I have no idea.
The correct answer is Badfink. That means, Vicky, you are today's strongest link and you go away with £4,180. George. You leave with nothing. Join us again for the weakest link. Goodbye.
I honestly cannot believe that I won the weakest link, and it's been an absolute pleasure to be on the show today.
I really enjoyed my time on the weakest link, and fair play to Vicky. She was a very good and smart contestant, and she deserved a win.
I didn't think I was going to beat George in the final round, but I did, and I wish him the best of luck, because he was a good player.